Where's Bobby? Huh? Have you seen Bobby?
Bobby, Bobby,
No.
Shay.
No idea. You can't read.
Bobby, Bobby, Shay.
Where is Bobby? Stop, stop. Bobby. Rufito, have you seen your brother? Bobby.
Bobby, Bobby,
Bobby.
Shay.
Bobby.
Bobby,
Bobby.
Bobby, Shay.
Not immediately clear to us how our soil is organized. Most of it is hidden. The only part we know best is the part we see, which is the first layer, also called topsoil, cultivation layer, the part needed by our plants, as we discussed earlier, humus and soil life, and it is usually about 1 foot thick. Some of the nutrients in the first layer are washed down by the gravitational water into the second layer. Most of these nutrients are again deposited and reaching the third layer is a layer we call the subsoil. Hard ponds develop in farms where synthetic fertilizers are used. When sodium, like sodium nitrate, from synthetic fertilizers combine with carbonic acid, it forms sodium carbonate, also known as washing soda. This washing soda causes the soil to assume a cement-like hardness, which makes it impervious to water and hinders plant roots in search for groundwater. pans and hard pans can be broken up with the application of organic material to the soil. Compost, manure, mulches, they all improve drainage and promote the proliferation of earthworms. This composition determines the texture of our soil. What we sometimes overlook is the way in which these parts and particles are piled up and assembled. It is actually an essential factor for growing healthy plants. The grain structure is the kind of structure we encounter in a pile of uncooked rice. All soil particles lay beside each other with no connection or structure, with no cavities for either air or water. This type of soil is called a soil without structure. It pulverizes and scatters when the weather is hot and dry. When we treat our soil the right way, that is, we supply it regularly with generous amounts of compost, thereby stimulating our soil life, we cultivate it regularly, we drain it well, and we rotate our plants with crops that have deep-reaching roots, our soil will gradually accumulate soil particles that stick together in small porous clouds called crumbs. This kind of soil has much more cavities than the soil with a grain structure. It is ideal for agriculture because it can store sufficient air and water for our plants. And it is much easier for plant roots to penetrate and so absorb more water and soil nutrients. We encourage the formation of these crumbs by stimulating our soil life. Bacteria produce glues that attach to the soil's colloidal surface, making small soil particles stick together. Fungi grow heavy strands around these particles and group of particles, binding them together in microaggregates called crumbs. And earthworms, nematodes, millipedes, and other macroorganisms create passages to the aggregates for water and air. A crumb structure is as fragile as a cart house and easily collapses. Here are 3 important ways to prevent these. Protect the soil from getting flooded. Too much water causes its structure to cave in. Avoid stepping on the bed. It compacts the soil, crushing its structure. Avoid cultivating when too wet or too dry. Dry soil pulverizes, transforming its structure into a grain structure. Wet soil easily becomes muddy, disintegrating its structure. It is too wet to cultivate when it stubbornly sticks to our tools. Did you know that plants have different root structures? Some plants, like cucumber, have shallow roots. Other plants, like carrots, have deep-reaching roots. There are several reasons why it is interesting to know the root structure of each plant. All our plants do the same with their roots. They search for food and moisture. It is an important factor to consider if we want to practice companion cropping. Companion cropping is practiced in order to maximize the use of our patch of land. But that means more plants have to share and compete for the nutrients available on that land. We avoid this competition by interplanting shallow-rooted crops with deep-rooted crops. Plants with deep-reaching roots are excellent cultivators. But plants with shallow roots are very vulnerable. We should be very cautious, especially when loosening up the soil around them. Otherwise, we might damage their root system and impair their roots. The root structure of lettuce. Crops with the same type of structure. Celery, Chinese cabbage, also called Peche Bacchio, endive, kale, parsley, sunflower, and Swiss chard. Root structure of cabbage that has been transplanted. Crops with that same type of structure when grown as transplants. Broccoli, cauliflower, and kohlrabi. Root structure of tomato. Crops with a similar type of root structure, eggplant, okra, and pepper. The root structure of courgette. Crops with a similar storage route, but shorter and rounder, radish and turnip. crops with the same type of root structure, peanuts and sweet potatoes.